Team, welcome to another episode of Ask Top, sponsored by MentorMilitary.com. For those of you who don't know me, I'm your host, Command Sergeant Major Retired Mark Garrett, and today we're going to discuss a very serious topic that's near and dear to my heart, and it's directed towards leaders that are recommending, directing, writing relief for cause reports. This includes raters, senior raters, reviewers, supplementary reviewers, commanders that are involved in commander's inquiry, higher levels that need to look at it. A relief for cause report is serious, and most of them don't need to occur. During the past few months, I've received increased number of calls from leaders receiving relief for cause reports. I want you to keep in mind that a relief for cause, as I said, is very serious, and for all intents and purposes, it's a career ender. Most likely your records are going to go before an evaluation board, and you're going to be reviewed under the quality management program. Most of you know that as the QMP program. You can appeal this decision, but odds are you will be separated from service. As a leader, if your purpose is to get the soldier thrown out of the military, then fine. But if that's not your intent, you need to evaluate the unintended consequences of your decisions. Leaders, I can't stress this enough. Only use a relief for cause report when no other option is available and the performance of the soldier is so egregious that it is in the best interest of the Army to consider separating the soldier. Treat the soldier the way you want to be treated. There are clear situations that require relief for cause, but most fall into gray areas that involve leaders making decisions, and usually it's when they're emotional, they lack experience, maturity, and mentorship to look at the entire situation and apply the whole soldier concept. Hey, please take a moment, hit the subscribe button for me, leave us a like, share us a comment about this episode or another episode that you would like to see in the future. Please check the description below. We've got some links to some good products that will help you with evaluations and also includes information on relief for cause reports. Now, I'm not naive. When the soldiers call me, I understand that I'm only getting 50% or less of the story. Therefore, I ask a lot of questions. I make it clear that they have to be honest or I can't help them. And, when you get a relief for cause, they're hard to win when you appeal them. Or not appeal them, but a commander's inquiry or an appeal. They're very difficult to win because all they need to relieve you is loss of trust, faith, and confidence. Really, they don't even need a great big reason. And that's a sad thing. And there's a lot of things that aren't done, and we'll talk about those a little later. But if you're going to give a relief for cause report, make sure it's well deserved and that you have done your job as a leader. Recently, one incident took place that shook me to my core. Based on the documentation I saw and the evidence I reviewed, the chain of command consistently violated policy, procedure, regulatory requirements. They treated the soldier in a mentally abusive manner and failed to address a physical assault. As leaders, we are paid to make tough calls. Sometimes we don't have the experience, maturity, or emotional intelligence to make the right call. This is where mentorship comes in. Reach out to senior individuals in grade, individuals that you respect, individuals that have given relief for cause reports before, or other options besides a relief for cause report, because sometimes there are options. Remember, at some point in the future, you might face a relief for cause report. How did you want to be treated? Make sure you follow the rules. This is important. If you have not done your job as a leader, if you have not done the proper counseling, you failed to give guidance, whatever it is, and you have to push and really think hard to make a relief for cause stick, you're wrong. Have a talk with the soldier. Tell them to use this as a learning experience. Counsel the soldier on your expectations. Make a detailed counseling, much like an initial counseling, so you cover everything. If the soldier continues to perform in a substandard manner, you can consider a relief for cause action. So what should take place if a relief for cause is necessary? First, the leader should be counseled. unless it was an egregious failure like substance abuse, sexual assault, DUI, things like that. Then a relief is a done deal. The counseling requirements are not mandatory and can be waived in certain situations. My question is, why would you waive counseling? Would you want leadership to do that to you? One of the best achievements as a leader is transforming a substandard performer into a high-speed soldier. To counsel the soldier, develop an initial counseling that lists all substandard performance, and in conjunction with the soldier, develop a plan of action to correct the substandard areas. Then counsel the soldier once a week for 3 weeks. This means the soldier will receive a total of 4 counselings in a 30-day period. Each week, counsel the soldier on what they improved upon and what they need to continue to work on. If after 4 counseling the soldier has improved, there's no action required. If the leader initially improves and then backslides into substandard performance, you can relieve the leader without additional counseling. If the soldier fails to improve after 4 counselings, then you need to make the call if the leader should receive a relief for cause report. There's more to being a leader than administrating punishment and recommending or implementing adverse actions against a soldier. In fact, studies have shown this type of leadership may initially produce results, but typically causes significant issues as the leader-subordinate relationship continues. As a leader, you have to care about your soldiers. You have to provide tough love when necessary, but you have to be approachable, understanding, empathetic, and compassionate. Don't coddle them. Lead them by example. If you don't know the answer, tell them. Go find out the answer. Don't try to be the subject matter expert in all things. If the private in your section or organization has the answer, reward the knowledge, encourage the sharing of knowledge and experience. This helps develop maturity, respect, and trust within the organization. I'll be honest. I was a young 19-year-old Sergeant E5. I lacked experience, maturity, and was still developing emotionally. I tended to lead with my emotions. Not a good combination. Fortunately, I had seasoned combat leaders around me when it was time to recommend an Article 15, chapter a soldier, or take an adverse action on a soldier. They would approach me and tell me, talk to me about the issue and ask me a series of questions. Many times I found out the problem was not necessarily the soldier. If you are considering a relief action, ask yourself some questions. What caused this event to happen? Is it a lack of training? Is it a lack of experience? Is it a lack of maturity? Is it a leadership failure by the chain of command? These items should be evaluated by the leader. Notice some of this falls directly on the back of the leader. So is the soldier receiving a relief action because you failed to train them, provide experience, or lead them? If so, I'm going to ask you, who deserves the relief for cause report? What other questions should you ask yourself? What happened? Is this a cut and dry relief? DUI, sexual assault, substance abuse, or something like that? What actions or inactions justifies a relief for cause report? What was the impact of the event on the unit, the soldiers, and the morale of the unit and the Army as a whole? Where did it happen? Who saw it? Does the incident really rise to the level of relief for cause, or is this an emotionally or politically driven scenario? Now, I just said emotional or politically driven. Sometimes, up on top, they're going to force a relief for cause. As a leader, if you don't believe that is appropriate and you can prove that, you have a duty, responsibility, and obligation to stand up for your subordinate soldier. It's going to be tough, especially if the word's coming down from battalion at the sergeant major or lieutenant colonel level. You have to be able to defend your soldier if the situation so dictates. Don't roll over. Hey, it's going to cause you some problems in the future potentially, but you got to do what's right. Think through the situation critically, come up with a good plan of action that can resolve the issue, that calms down senior leaders. Hopefully you can do that. Now I'll give you an example. Usually, if you can't talk reason to the person, you can usually get 1 to 2 levels above leadership that's causing the roadblock, and emotion is gone, and you can get a fair shake. The other questions you should ask is, who knew about the issue leading up to the relief? Are we relieving the appropriate person? Is there more to this story? What is the impact of doing nothing? What is the impact of implementing an action less than a relief for cause? Do you have all the facts? If the conduct was illegal, unethical, immoral, or unsafe, there's a strong likelihood the soldiers should be relieved, as they knew the execution of whatever they did was wrong before they did it, or they should have reasonably known better that the action they took was inappropriate. Now, you can tell that this subject's got me fired up. It's got me so fired up that usually I use PowerPoint slides. And I wanted you to see me today, because there is what I see as an epidemic of relief for cause reports happening. And most of them, based on the information I have, could have been solved another way. I'm not saying that the leaders providing the relief action were necessarily wrong. I'm saying that there was another way to handle these things without destroying someone's career. Now, like I said earlier, if it's an absolute must relief for cause, do it. Make sure you do it right. Still make sure you provide compassion, because it's a significant event for that soldier. Treat that soldier fairly, but understand you are dealing with people's careers. Make sure you're treating them the way you want to be treated if the roles were reversed. Now, what are some of those alternatives to a relief for cause? Put a bullet statement on their evaluation report, and if you need to dock them for it, dock them for it. That bullet statement can be as powerful and specific as you want, or as vague as you want. If it's very powerful and specific, it may still result in a QMP review. If it's vague and they still get a meets the standard, okay, you got to make that call. There's no need to make the entire report bad. This shows the rating chain is vindictive, unprofessional, and emotional. What do I mean by this? So I recently saw an evaluation report in which the soldier did one thing wrong. And in every block of the evaluation report, they checked did not meet standards and not qualified. And they used the same event for every block. Is that fair? I mean, is that reasonable? Pick the area the comment fits best in, write it down, and move on. The next option might be in Article 15. Now, you don't have to mention the conduct that led to an Article 15 on an evaluation report. You don't have to mention it at all. But if you mention it, you can't mention that the soldier got an Article 15. You can only mention the behavior that led to the Article 15. So you can also give the soldier what I call a show up in color report. This is for someone that's a great soldier, that's doing their job, but they're just not a fit for their job. Example, I was leaving my first sergeant position, and they were putting a new first sergeant in. I went to the sergeant major and I explained, hey, look, this is an awesome guy, but he's not a leader. You put him in there, you're going to wind up relieving him. Not because he's a bad guy, just because he's not going to do well in that type of position. And if you relieve him, you're responsible. There were several people that went to the sergeant major and talked to him about this. And they still put the soldier in that position. And that's the sergeant major's prerogative. About 60 days later, the individual called me and said, hey, I'm getting relieved. I talked to him about it. And the relief was, I don't know if you could say it was justified, but it was definitely within the realm of the gray area for a relief for cause. So I called the sergeant major. And I said, say, sergeant major, didn't we have this talk along with 5 other people that came to you? Yeah. And we're going to relieve this kid because you knew beforehand that he wasn't a good fit, that he was a great staff person, but he just wasn't a leader, especially a first SAR material. So I asked the SAR major, who deserves the relief for cause? Who made the bad decision? They got quiet. I said, SAR major, maybe the best way to do this is give the guy a show up in color report. So what do I mean by that? Soldier gets met standards, gets an average evaluation report, and you move them to a position in which they will do well. You don't contaminate their next assignment or their next job if it's within the same battalion or company. Think about that. Sometimes a show up in color report is the right thing to do. So you could also place a comment on the evaluation report. I spoke about this earlier, that alludes to the issue, but still allows them to have a met standard comment. You can put a bullet comment on the working copy of the soldier's NCOER, their support form, their -1 alpha, and say, hey, look, if you don't improve in this area of being substandard, I'm going to take this off the working copy and put it on your actual evaluation report. If they don't improve, put it on the report. How about some form of corrective training? You know, there's all types of things that you can do. Was it a lack of training? Does a soldier need to be trained in that skill? Is it a lack of experience? Well, the only way they're going to get experience is to be exposed to it, to have a mentor teach them. Hey, when this comes along, think about it. Think hard about it. I've placed some links in the description below to some products that can help you with evaluation reports, to include relief for cause actions. As I wrap this up, I just want you to think about recommending a relief action. Think about it. Know the whole story. Listen, listen, listen. If you have to give a relief for cause because you are bound by duty, obligation, and or responsibility, then so be it. If it's deserved, it's deserved. But remember, most of the time you have a choice and you have significant options. Just like you have options with any other adverse action. Article 15's corrective training, revocation of privileges, you name it. You've got options most of the time. Put yourself in that soldier's position. You can choose to develop this soldier if it is a gray zone situation. Or you can choose to break their back. What type of leader are you? Do you build and grow soldiers, or do you destroy their capability to recover? Because when you give a relief for cause report, you got about a 99% chance of destroying that soldier's career. Think about your actions. Make the right call to the best of your ability. Hey, seek out guidance from mentors. There's plenty of places to get good mentorship these days. If you don't have them in your immediate company, search the next company over. Reach out to the sergeant major. Reach out to other senior leaders. There's plenty of virtual networks like Iron Diamonds and a few other organizations on Facebook that can provide you some good information. But think about it. Really think about it. Whatever the right call is, just think and listen. Most importantly, get the facts. Don't be emotional. When you calm down and your head is clear, make the decision that will impact both the unit and that soldier. Understand the unintended consequences of your actions. Treat the soldier the way you want to be treated if the roles were reversed. Relief for cause is a serious action. And what I have seen lately, based on the information I've seen, hey, and I'm not a pushover. If you're jacked up, I'll tell you you're jacked up and you deserve it. If you're in the gray area, I will give you some recommendations of how to turn it into something potentially less than a relief for cause. But if the action is jacked up, that's what bothers me, because I have seen plenty of them recently. And I don't know why it is. In some cases, it's very obvious that it was vindictive. In other cases, it appeared to be a lack of experience, maturity, or it was an emotion. Either way, I know that leaders on the ground are making the best call they can for the most part, except for the vindictive actions. And it's hard to be a leader sometimes. But one of the hardest things to do is to calm down, get the facts. Don't let somebody be guilty before you have the information. Treat them the way you want to be treated. Hey, I've beat this up enough today, but I'd appreciate it if you would go to Facebook, like Ask Top and Mentor Military on Facebook. Reach down, hit the subscribe button, leave us a comment, share us. And we've got plenty of websites, specifically asktop.net. And if you're looking for any professional military development products, check us out at mentormilitary.com. And if you're going through a relief for cause, feel free to contact me at my email address below. I don't work miracles. I can give you some information. If you're thinking about giving a relief for cause, feel free to contact me as well. I mean, I'm not the guy with all the answers. I'm a guy that can listen and share some experience and some doctrine. After that, it's up to you. Hey, until next time, take care, stay safe, and stay healthy.